All right, here in my garage gym, and right behind me, you get the GT Premium 5.0. But let's be real. You know what I'm a lot more proud of is these dumbbells. I find each and every one of these dumbbells to be, I mean, incredibly isn't even the right word, far more valuable than any kind of stupid crap like that. All right, let's be real. All right, but for real, I have gotten far too many comments where it essentially goes just like this. Sam, how did Chris Bumstead let you get into his gym? How come you're lifting in Chris Bumstead's gym all the time? And I guess that was kind of by design, unintentionally, of course. But the setup is similar, right? But if you look, if you're a little more particular with it, Chris's gym is far different than mine. Chris's gym is a little wider, it's a little deeper, and actually I think it's gone because he's moved on, or he's not moved on, but he's moved locations. So his home gym's a totally different place. So, or I'll get the same comment, how do you train? You must be lifting at 2 in the morning. There's nobody in that gym. So let's just take a look around, do a little reiteration of the Sam Sulik gym tour. Because this thing is about stock now. At first it was kind of, all new. I didn't really know where things were supposed to be. But everything's kind of found its place. So let's take a look. All right, so this is kind of the chest segment. So if you've been tuned in, you already know about this. These two are actually basically the same chest press. This Arsenal converging one is a little more inclined. That one is a little bit flatter. So if we're being real, this is gonna hit your mid chest just a little bit. And obviously I'm always thinking upper chest. For the most part, everybody's lower pecs are already developed. Like every time you push yourself up from the floor, every time you do a push down, every time you bench, if you're arching at all, which you should be, it's like everybody's lower pecs are fine. I'm trying to totally isolate upper pecs. But the reason why I actually like this a lot more is right freaking here, I'm sitting across the mirror. So when I'm ripping this set, I can actually see myself doing it. And it just feels way fucking cooler. Because if I'm like just pressing whatever, it's like if you've ever squatted in a rack with no mirror in front of you, like it's nuts. The Planet Fitness in my city, but they just upgraded all their equipment. So they've got squat racks now in the back corner, but there's no mirrors. There's no mirrors there to keep yourself balanced and see if you're fucking like symmetrical. Because you never know. And that's one benefit of actually recording all these lifts is I can see any weird thing that I might be doing. Like if I'm doing cable curls, maybe one shoulder is like way up above the other. So if you have a mirror, you can kind of notice that shit and sort of balance it out. But as a recommendation really to anybody, if you have a gym that might have this, it's going to be the Arsenal Pec Deck. I think, it's a bold claim to say it's the best, but honestly, it's not that bold. And the main difference is the fact that these pivot points are further, well, actually, I guess they're further back. Typically, like if you're at a Planet Fitness or something, or a Life Fitness, anything with hammer strength stuff and Life Fitness equipment, when you sit down on this thing, these pulleys are like here. They're not this far, but they're in front of your shoulders. So the rotational path wants you to hunch. And then it just fucking sucks. So with this one being so far back, I can actually keep my shoulders like here and really squeeze. And I've already got a bad problem using my front delts for a bunch of pressing. So this gets them completely out of the situation. If you live in Columbus and you've ever been to Pro's Gym, you know they have one of these and it gets used. It gets used quite fucking frequently. But that's honestly about it for chest. There's one more machine over here. This one Mark really likes. So when he's in here, he always rips this thing. My issue is the fact that it doesn't converge, right? So if I'm sitting here benching, like on that machine, my hands are going to come in as I do the rep. But with this one, they just move straight out, right? So it's like a barbell or something, which is fine. But if I'm doing a machine press, I want these handles coming inward so I can really kind of squeeze and hold. But in terms of chest machines, that's kind of the gist of it. So it's been about a year. So it's been actually a little longer than a year. April, May. Yeah, it's been about a year and a half that I've had this space. Obviously, been killing it. Have had off seasons, have had full bodybuilding preps, like for the last Arnold. So what's the best part about having a crazy ass fucking just like personal training facility like this? I'd say it's got to be the consistency. And what I mean by that is just knowing exactly what the vibe is going to be in here every time I roll up. Because depending on the gym, I don't know if you care about this, but sometimes I'll get in my own head about like what the vibe might be. So let's say, back in, well, let me try to think of a gym. There's a few, especially grungier ones where it's like, this is a world gym or like a Gold's gym. Ones where I kind of expect like some energy. And when I walk in, I kind of expect there doesn't have to be freaks, but I would hope that there's some guys really bringing it. And if I walk into the gym that way and I'm thinking like, all right, some let the dogs out. I know there's some fucking freaks in here. I want to be one of them. And then I come in and it's, it's just dead. There's like maybe 3 people in there. Obviously they're still killing it. But when a gym just doesn't have that energy, it's just not fucking there. And it kind of sucks. Obviously it's on you. You should bring that energy for yourself. But sometimes you get kind of spoiled. If you've ever been to a gym that was packed full of guys bringing it, and you roll up and it's just kind of and maybe you were hoping to rely on that energy, well, it's kind of turns into a downer. It starts raining when you want to go outside and play kind of deal. So since it's always empty in here, I know exactly what the vibe is going to be like. It's going to be exactly as crazy as I decide it to be, or as Spotify Discover Weekly decides it's going to be, which on that note, slim pickings, which is probably good because that means that my music taste isn't so predictable that it knows exactly what I think. So I think I've got, does that mean I have good taste or I have terrible weird taste? I guess it doesn't really matter. But if I'm bumping the speaker, then it's fucking sweet. Not to mention, you ever have your gym shut down on Christmas? You ever have your gym shut down on the 4th of July or shut down early for some like random holiday you didn't even hear about? Right? That's probably the worst. That's probably one of the worst situations. So I know this place is always open, at least for fucking me. And that brings us underneath the dungeon. So I got inspired for this. I've never seen anybody do this, at least not in like a freaking personal gym setting, because this is actually scaffolding from a scaffolding company. Like if you've ever been to New York or something, they've got this shit all over. Like, you've seen the videos. Guys are just swinging around doing pull-ups. But for me, there's only so much space in here. And I kind of want this to be a whole combo, like, at least eventually get to a point where it's kind of like fitness. You ever watch Ridiculousness? Be like the Fantasy Factory, but more like the Fitness Factory. So if there's only so much space, what do? Just stack shit on top of each other. And then they turn this into the fucking leg press dungeon. So we've got 3. A lot of leg machines are just on a rack or a Smith machine. But these 3 in particular, I'd say they're going to be your quad bread and butter. Hack squat, sled leg press, and then a pendulum hip press. Now this is probably my favorite, so we'll save this one for last. But a regular hack right here, I guess you tell me, I actually don't notice a ton of tension in my knees. Like if I'm sitting here in a hack squat, actually, gaining size, doing like a legit training day in an off season, I load this thing up. Last time I've done, last heavy set I remember was about 6 plates for like 10 or so. I bet I could kind of work my way up to 8-ish. And half the reason for that much weight, like that would be an insane squat, is the fact that this is on like probably a 30-degree angle. Same with that leg press. So 100 pounds worth of weight added really only feels like 50, if you know anything about trigonometry, right? I'm talking sine of 30, that sort of deal. And then this leg press, same deal. Honestly, all very similar. If you've got a regular hammer strength one like a Planet Fitness has, or some completely random old no-name one, it's all going to be the same thing. You know, I'm not particularly particular about a leg press, but here I most certainly am. So if you've ever been to Ohio for the Arnold, you would know that American Barbell is basically one of the places to be. There's the Pros Gym, there's Metro Fitness Worthington a little bit, but mainly the Pros and American Barbell. And they have this hip press. So for about a year-ish, or not a year, but like 6 months when I was in an off season, for me, that gym is about an hour away. But every heavy leg day, I would go down and drive to American Barbell because they had this Rogers hip press. And if you notice anything different from this machine than these two, it's the fact that this one pivots on this arm up here. It doesn't slide up and down. So the difference there is the weight is going to feel the heaviest at the top, right? And at the top where your legs are straight in a leg press, that's where you're the strongest. Like some kid could probably budge 8 plates right here if the setting was right for him. He couldn't do a full rep, but he could budge it because you're extra strong right at the top. And it gets lighter towards the bottom. So you can really load a hefty amount of weight, but get deep into the press itself because it gets a little lighter. I mean, if you've ever bulked and done a leg press, maybe you haven't felt this, but I've never actually done it, but I've gotten close to that, let's call it a number 2 emergency on a leg press. Really, there's only one time in particular. This is when I was in the Miami Rec Center, so like, I don't know, years ago. This was pre-recording anything. I'm on some leg press. At the time, I'm eating, this was peak chocolate milk kind of era. Like this was, okay, I just got home from the gym. I have 5 double stacked cheeseburgers, 2 large fries, and like a large full sugar soda or something. Like I'm not going to sleep until I eat this. This was that era. So I'm just full of food, get on the leg press, 3 reps in, and it's like, what the hell do you do? Do you let it crush you? Or do you essentially just kind of just have to bolt if you just blow up your fucking pants? If you have a story like that, I would actually love to hear it. But when you're using this press, since the pressure is a little off at the bottom, you don't feel that much internal pressure. So if I had to pick one, I'm going to lean over here. But of course, variety is king. So if I do this for like 4 leg days in a row or 3 leg days in a row, it's going to make me want to come over here next just for the sake of changing it up. But if I could do it all over again, now having the experience of filling this space up, I think I might go a little slimmer, a little more dense, like maybe only that hip press and maybe just 1 leg curl and 1 leg extension, or like a combination. And right here with these dumbbells, they're 5 to 150s, but these are only the 10s. So 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, 110, 120, 130. If I had this whole bottom row stacked from, what is this, 75 to 150? Well, if I want to warm up on dumbbell, what am I supposed to do? Put the bench all the way over here, do the 75s for a few, put them back, move the bench over, 2 steps, do the same thing, move it over again. So I think I could have cut these dumbbells in half. And that's one upgrade that's coming. Nothing planned yet. I don't know what the best way to get them would be. But I think right here is an empty throne. I think maybe here, maybe move all this crazy camera crap out of the way and add an extension. Because it's getting to the point now where my incline dumbbell bench is fucking strong, right? It's not like Ronnie Coleman strong or what's his name? Give me a second. Or Hollingshead strong. These are 2 guys who can do the 200-pound dumbbells for legitimate working sets. I'm not there. I don't know if I'll ever get there. Who's to say? But I'm definitely above the 150s. So when I start growing this winter, I think 160 territory, that's a guarantee. So there will be a pair of 160s here. 170s, I think that's probably just hyping my own ego just for the sake of it. And I might just rip my pecs off like a total fool. So maybe, I don't know. It's probably better to get the 160s and the 170s at once, because you buy two from the same place or whatever, and it's like you got to ship them twice. Shipping's free if you got Amazon Prime, but Bezos does not supply 160s, at least not as far as I freaking know. But that's coming soon. So I'm sure you've noticed a pattern. Arsenal, freaking Arsenal. And I tell you something, these guys know what's up. And at some point, you just kind of got to consolidate a little bit. Because it would be, well, let's just say it's easier if you get everything from one place. Because if you were to get like a Panada this, and a Life Fitness this, and a Hammer Strength this, and a New Tech this, and a Pendulum, or a Matrix this, and just get kind of crazy. And this doesn't have to be the perfect gym. I'm not in here all the time, every lift. Definitely a lot of them, but I still want to change it up. So this doesn't have to cover every base for me. I wanted to cover a lot of bases, but if I'm feeling a certain hamstring curl, like a laying hammer strength curl, instead of this laying Arsenal curl, well then guess what? I've got Anytime Fitness right down the street to go check out. But these two are fucking serious. So the leg extension and the leg curl here, between the two, I definitely prefer the leg curl. Like the leg extension is solid, but this has got to be the heaviest leg curl you've ever used in your life. Like I'm dieting. I'm not peak strength right now, but I'm not stacking this. Like this is not, okay, I'm feeling kind of strong, let's rip the stack. This is, let's do 60 pounds out of the 150 and see how I feel. This is maybe do 80 for like one, and even then I'm probably only gonna get like 5 good reps, and then the rest are gonna be partials. Which is something I want to see in all machines, because I think if we think of the motivation for the ego lifter, and I'm not talking about me, like I like heavy sets, but I mean the guy who's really lifting more weight than he has any business working with, I think it's because they might be getting close to the stack, and then they just say screw it and go for it. If you're already hitting maybe 100 or something, well, let's say you're doing crazy push downs or something, or this guy's like stacking plates on the side of the machine or whatever. And there's that motivation of like, oh, I'm so close to the whole stack. Let's just fucking do it. But if the stack was 1,000,000 pounds, if even Brian Shaw couldn't do the whole stack, well, then I think it might make people back off a touch. And instead, just use the amount of weight that they actually need, not a total crazy extra amount, just because, oh, I'm like right there, and like the stack is cool, which it definitely is. So that kind of brings us to the only equipment that branches out from Arsenal. I guess the hip press over there in the corner. But that's these two Hammer Strength leg extension leg curls. If they had a combo, honestly, that would probably be better, because there really is only so much space in here. Like this is like 3,000 square foot. How much is that? Maybe 200 is taken up by, probably more like 300 or 400 is taken up by the bathroom and the front room. And then the dumbbell area is fucking huge. Like there's only so much space. So if these were a combo, that would be cool. But these are basic, honestly, it's kind of hard to mess up a leg extension, but yeah, these are solid. Smooth. I've never seen anybody break one of these. That was kind of half my motivation, because I don't want to be sitting around with a fucking machine with like a service unavailable kind of sign. Like for me, that'd freaking suck. But that pretty much finishes off legs. Almost. So this corner is taken up again, Arsenal Smith and the squat rack. Now the squat rack hasn't gotten as much use as some other gyms at different racks, or other racks at different gyms rather. And that's partially because, let's just say there's been a couple of like Instagram reels that have a adult content warning about people in a gym on a rack where there's nobody else in the gym. You know, I'm not trying to get morbid here, but even with the safeties, it's kind of fucking freaky to squat alone. Like, I want people around, not only just to be around, because squatting in a gym where people are watching you squat will make you feel cool if you're moving some weight around. But also, you know, what if I'm doing my walkout? You know, I got fucking 500 pounds almost. Depending on how bulked up I am, I've gotten close to 600 for reps. Only 585, but still. Sure, I mean, if I fail, I'm cool. I got the safeties. But what if, like, one knee does something? What if I get an ankle thing or whatever? As soon as you start going this way, not so sure these safeties are all that safe anymore. So, I mean, squats get thrown around, but normally only if I have, like, I mean, really, to say a chaperone is a pretty good description. But the Smith is fucking perfect. So this one's set to be vertical. A lot of, well, I guess not a lot of Smiths have the adjustment to decide. Normally it's like, okay, it's either vertical or it's at a weird angle. And if it's at an angle, sometimes it sucks because the bar might unrack a weird way. Like, if you've ever done incline bench, right? You're laying down, you're right here, and you're unracking on a Smith. You don't want to go this way. This is like going to make you drop the weight like in front of your thumbs and crush yourself like a guillotine. Right? I've seen the videos. I wanted to come this way backwards to put my hands into a stronger position. Same thing with the squat. Sometimes I don't mind an angled one, but vertical, it's just so much simpler. It's kind of just a guaranteed, I know how this is going to feel. Now this, I don't have so much trouble squatting alone. Put the safety at the right height. I don't care if I get 5 or... Actually, really, on this Smith machine in particular, I can't squat much heavier than a barbell. And that's because this thing is fucking heavy. If I had a scale of some sort and I could actually, like, weigh how much weight I've got here, this isn't like some 20-pound rinky-dink Planet Fitness Smith. Like, this thing is fucking real. Like, this is just a barbell. It's just a fucking barbell that has been assembled into the Smith. This isn't some, you know, half neural painted whatever. Like, this thing's legit. I remember when I first got it, I was like kind of surprised just by the sharpness of the knurling. But again, like I was saying earlier, mirror in front, absolutely perfect. It just lets you see what you're doing, you know. Plus, if you're being tactical, right, you don't want somebody walking up behind you. I've actually had that happen before. I was squatting at an Anytime Fitness, and this guy was nice. Like, he was just trying to be cool. I'm squatting like 5 something. I got the safeties and everything. And there's a mirror, so I saw him kind of coming. Like, he's coming in to give me a spot a little bit. Personally, though, like, if he were to ask me, like, did I want a spot? Not really. And I know that sounds kind of weird because of what I just said about squatting alone. But you never know. Like, if you've got a training partner and you guys train a lot, you're going to be a little more specific. When I go up to somebody and I'm like, okay, can I get a spot on incline? If I don't really know them, I'm just going to say, listen to my call, take it off me. But if I know the guy, I'm going to tell him very, very specifically, because I'm comfortable talking with him, like, all right, I'm going to do 10, and I'm going to give you the signal, and then I want you to hold on to the bar for the next 5 and give me assisted reps. Don't pull it too quick, or else what the fuck are we doing? But don't just let me turn it into a grinder. Like, I want real assistance, like things like that. So if somebody you've never known just fucking runs up behind you, fuck. Like, what if he gave me a push? Like, I was a little nervous just seeing him do that. It was all fine. But another benefit to the mirror, right? It's not hindsight, but you got that rear sight on whatever the hell might be going on. So what's a gym without a locker room, if we're being real? And this is an issue I have only run into recently because it's so fucking hot in here and I don't have air conditioning. I think that's probably a necessary upgrade. So that might be that's first. Air conditioning comes before the 160s. But it's to the point now where, I mean, it's not even full brunt heat yet. Last year, It was steady 90s plus, I don't know, what, 80 at night minimum. I'd probably more like 85. And it was so humid because it was also raining. It was a jungle. Honestly, I'm surprised I didn't get like fucking mold or something because I had all the hot, wet air circulating through. I don't know why I just didn't get a dehumidifier. I just didn't think about it. But even now, I think it's probably 82 in here, which I'm kind of getting used to the heat. But at some point, you just got to start sweating, right? And we'll get into the cardio setup next. But I mean, if you're completely drenched in sweat, I don't mean like a little sweaty, I mean soaking wet. I don't really want to get in the car like that. So I mean, there's no soap or anything, but I'll occasionally jump in and just do a freaking top-down rinse. This could use an upgrade. Maybe this is upgrade number 3. Air conditioning, 160-pound dumbbells, and maybe a beefier shower setup. This is, well, let's just put it like this. If it works, it works. But, yeah. I mean, usually if it's just me, I guess there's no need for any coverage. There's nobody else in here. So this comes into the back corner. Literally the back corner. So, pull over, chest supported row, pull down, chest supported row, cable stack. That's kind of its own thing, right? Cable stack's considered individual. But with these, I mean, with back, I'm split with my approach. Because I think of back like I think of everything. It's not that complicated. You got pull downs and rows, and that's the end of it. Just do it. But your back is pretty complicated. There is a lot of shit going on. It's not like your chest where you just have upper pec, mid pec, lower pec, or your bicep where, yeah, I know it's biceps, so 2 muscles, but really it's just the one, right? For most functions and purposes. But your back, you got a lot of stuff going on. So for me, I notice in an off season, especially when I'm growing, this pullover machine and that pull down right over there, I managed to feel a lot of upper lats right here underneath my armpit. The part of your lats that actually jut out. Like if you're standing in front of the mirror in the morning when you're brushing your teeth and you fucking hit yourself with this lat spread, you know, you might have the widest back in the world, but if you have a lot of lower lat development, but no upper, like up here, well, then you're not really going to be able to get wide. And it's not for the sake of like width for competing to like get a judge's approval. Having a wide back is cool. You just fill out a shirt. Every time somebody shows me a picture that they took of me, like my, you know, whoever, and I'm just walking in like regular street clothes, and I can like just see that my back is filling out the shirt that I'm wearing, like that makes that just makes me feel fucking cool. So when I start growing come this winter time, I'm gonna camp out here and there because for me, I want my lats wide up top. They're pretty wide down low. Like my lower lat development is solid, but I want up here to kind of thicken up. And then with these 3 chest supported rows, they just work in different ways. Obviously they're all chest supported, but the function is a little different. So right here with this one thing that's special about it is this is working weight. Notice a small difference. A 25 on either side, whereas that machine in the corner still has 5 plates loaded onto it. I haven't even taken them off because that's like just, I'm not even going to do a warm-up rep of 3. That's partially just because that machine has good leverages and you're strong on it. And this one has very poor leverages, so this feels crazy fucking heavy. But they just feel a little different. This I kind of notice a little more maybe lower mid traps when you do a squeezing holding rep here. Whereas over there, it might be a little more upper mid traps or so. And it's just a different kind of movement path. Because when I'm using this, it's just kind of linear up and down. But when I creep over here and bend over on this chest supported kind of seat, at least how I have it set, it's not just a straight thing. I'm kind of pulling down and up. So it looks more like this instead of just this, which, you know, to the uninitiated doesn't sound like a big deal. Very different. Like if you were to tell me to do this if I didn't feel like it, or this if for whatever reason it didn't click on any given day, like it would just kind of throw me off. Now this one hasn't been getting used as much because this is more of a lat focus row, which is, you know, what the hell does that even mean, right? I don't want to be working my upper back with a row. That's what this is. But just the nature of it and how it's kind of swinging around, like it doesn't make me feel like I want to flare my elbows up in this direction. Like even right now, look how this thing is pivoting. Like it wants me to pull my arm down. And this action right here, even though it is a row, is like almost all pull down. Or not pull down, but almost all lats. Almost all kind of lower lats. So if I'm doing lower lats, well shit, I might just be aiming for like a regular pull down. I still throw it in just especially for variability's sake. But out of these three, those two definitely get the most love. So this, I'd probably say this is like the centerpiece. This is the dining room. This is don't bring your shoes in the house type territory, because this really ties all this shit together. So 3 cables on both sides, free cable, free cable, free cable, free cable, pull down row, basically part of back alley. So that turns this whole area into like a dedicated back section. Like typically, especially if it's just me, I'm walking around, I got my tripod and everything. But if I'm hitting lats or rows or whatever, I mean, I got a fucking chair just right there in the center of it, because, you know, I've seen guys where they're like, oh, if you're working out, never sit down. Never sit down to catch your breath, bro. Stay standing up. I mean, are you a high school football coach? Maybe. But for me, I'm going to freaking pop a squat. So this kind of turns into this whole little back area. Like every back section or every back lift, I just have no reason to deviate from over here. Similar-ish with arms. So with these cables, obviously good for hand-over-hand pressing, whether I put a bench down, just standing, leaning over, doing like body weight, like just gravity-based kind of shit. But for arms, I mean, it's as versatile as you are, right? Can you do I mean, let me just bullet point some push downs. Easy bar, straight bar, rope, D-handle, underhand D-handle, 2 D-handles, overhand rope, overhand easy bar, cross body kind of katana style. Like that's just 9 off rip. So even though it's just one cable, you know, it's kind of more up to you, right? If you walk into a hotel gym and you've got an arm day and they have a cable machine and you say, oh man, I can't get a good workout in here. There's no preacher machine. There's no dip machine. I just look at that like a fucking bad craftsman blaming his tools. I've been to a hotel gym that only had dumbbells up to 40s, and I've still had a skin splitting pump where I took a picture and said, hell yeah, right? It's not necessarily always about what you're using, but more kind of how you're using it. But that's a valid critique. So over here, we just parked the preacher bench right next to this cable. So this has kind of just been converted completely to a bicep area, which I don't mind because there's 3 other cables over there. I can kind of move around if I want to leave stuff hung up. But this, just, you know, set up as such. If your gym has a mobile preacher bench like this, this is a pretty easy setup. And this is a little safer than if you're doing like an easy bar or dumbbell or kind of whatever. Because here, when this cable is attached and I'm holding onto the handle, the weight is pulling my hands directly in this way, just straight down. I don't feel like I'm going to rip my biceps off at the bottom, so I can really bring it. Whereas if I was using an easy bar, you kind of have to ease into the bottom, because if you just let that weight keep going where it wants, well, shit, man, now you're in kind of freaky territory, and then maybe you're in tendon reattachment, you know, walking around in a sling territory. Oh, shit, man, bro. I gotta take 4 weeks off the gym, you know. That's the guy who's just too lazy to even hit legs or anything. Like when I see somebody in the gym in a sling or in a boot or whatever, that's a badge of honor, honestly. Because there's so many people where they have any kind of injury and it's just instant slack city. Like a total fucking punk. So let's ascend. I guess that's actually the right way to put it. Because up here, this is the, what do we call this? Not the mastermind. What word am I thinking? This is the, well, this is the setup either way. So big ass computer, probably a little, well, honestly, not really. I was about to say probably a little overkill, but these videos take a minute to freaking load. So sometimes if you're a total camera nerd like I am now, what I do is I record some of these videos in 8K, and I use an anamorphic lens that de-squeezes it to 4K. So to render all that into a video takes like 30 minutes or like 20 minutes or whatever. So usually my routine is finish my workout, pop a squat in the desk, splice my workout together, make a couple like little TikTok edit music videos, which is kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when I'll watch my own workout edit and it still gets me hyped to work out. So it's like there's this positive feedback loop of sitting here making it, looking at it, hell yeah. And then once it's started to load and render, which takes a fucking minute, jump onto the cardio bike. So last prep for the Arnold Amateur and the, what was that first show? Arnold Amateur and the Legends Classic Muscle Contest show in Vegas. I got an iPad, a little, like whichever the most basic one was, because I was doing so much cardio that I wanted to watch shows or videos or whatever on a bigger screen instead of just playing on my fucking phone. And, well, now it's made its return, because I'm camping out for 45 minutes now. So since it's so far away, I get a little battery pack, keep your phone charged. This is a good setup. Now, this is not a commercial cardio bike. This is, I got this from Best Buy. Not from the store. They just shipped it, had to put it together. And it totally works. I mean, if you find a cardio bike on the side of the street for free, the only difference between you and you getting cardio done is, do you know someone with a truck? Or do you have one yourself? Or are you crazy enough to like fold your back seats down and try to throw it into your car? Or whatever like that. So there is no cardio supremacy. Like, I'm not sitting here thinking, man, I wish I had the most fancy pants, like has a screen built in, Wi-Fi TV connected, like a cardio bike like this, like that you'll see in whatever kind of gym. I mean, not even to mention like Peloton or whatever. Like, they can get up to like 15,000. Like, isn't that nuts? Whereas it does the same function as like the metal bike that just has the momentum disc with the plastic, like friction fit type deal. So it's like, look, if you got something that works, then you're golden. I've still got my original cardio bike that I got from my grandparents. Way like that. Honestly, that cardio bike might, I think for me at least, that's my oldest family heirloom, because it's been in my grandparents' house for however fucking long, and then now it's been passed down to me. I never even thought about it like that. But I've still got that one in my basement, and it is not as like fancy or nice or whatever. It's an old, like, barely, well, not barely, it totally works, but it's just like a little blue LCD screen. And that thing got me lean enough to fucking go pro and place at the Arnold and the Arnold UK. Not first place, but I still placed. So that shit fucking worked. Nearly forgotten. So this is a version of a movement which can definitely be done on a cable, that overhead easy bar extension. I mean, that's all this even is. It's just an easy bar that's been attached to this whole apparatus. This thing, like the footprint of this machine is almost as big as some of the leg presses, which is kind of nuts. But I tried a machine like this down in, I think it was South Carolina. Which Carolina is Hilton Head? Either one. But there was a machine like this, and I freaking loved it. Like, something about the groove of the long head stretch and activation, and it didn't hurt my elbows or anything. So I've kind of been on the hunt for it. I went back to I haven't been back to that gym since the original, where I kind of discovered the overhead machine like this. But I'm, let's just say I'm excited to, so I can get a feel for it yet again. And just go back to the same gym now as like a badass 240-pound freaking pro bodybuilder. When I first went there, I was like, I didn't even know what I weighed. So that's a freaking throwback in itself. And then delts, kind of covered in the dumbbells, but having a side lateral machine, I really like just to change it up. You know, you can do a million dumbbell lateral raises, standing, leaning up against the bench, doing one arm. You can do cable, where you're just doing one arm cable at a time. You could do regular front raises like this, even though I probably wouldn't recommend those. You'd probably, I mean, you tell me, user experience. I don't think it feels that good on my rotator cuffs. But having something like this is nice because stack loaded, you get to stay in the same place, not grab like 10 different weights. I'm not one to like get annoyed too bad. Like if I'm in the gym and I see somebody doing something on the sillier end, you know, I'm as judgmental as anybody. I'm not going to say anything. But I will get kind of annoyed when somebody sets up a stack of dumbbells. Even worse if I know they're not going to put them back where they belong. But they've got one bench with just anything above 3. You can have 2. I think you can have 2. Let's say you're doing a superset or something. So you're doing like maybe 40-pound curls and then 20-pound curls. 2, I think, is acceptable. But 3? Oh my God, I've seen it before. I was down in Pittsburgh. I was at the UFC gym, which was super cool, and I will definitely be going back there. And it's like maybe not midnight, but it's like 9 at night or something. It's late. This was after a Gymshark shoot, so we were kind of busy throughout the day, so it had to be a later lift. And I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing arms or something. But there's this guy next to me, kind of CrossFit-y. I don't remember. Even just for me, I kind of wish I had a video of this dude. But he was fucking. He's in a tracksuit look, like short shorts, a white tank tucked into it, kind of taller, lanky dude. And, you know, I didn't even really look over until I heard him thudding, like, I don't know, maybe the 60s that he was benching. And then he goes from that to some laterals and some dumbbells and then some whatever. And he's rapping at the same time. And then he's shadow boxing and he's fucking running all over the place. The gym was totally empty. So even in that situation, it's like, it doesn't really bother me. But if you're in a packed gym, like, we got to bring back a little etiquette. You know, that'd be kind of nuts. Even worse, and now I'm just getting on a rant. But I've been to a few gyms where, let's just say, people bring their kids. And if you've, I guess you'd have to be there to know. But if you've ever walked out a squat and then had like some 6-year-old girl run past you on FaceTime on an iPad that's bigger than she is, and it gets you going, you know. I used to be like, fuck, man, you know, what, you got to be 16 to be up here? Sometimes that's a rule. It's like you have to be 16 years old or with your parent. Now I understand. Now I actually understand that rule. It's not one I have to enforce in here. There's not really a lot of little ones just getting in anybody's way. But, yeah, if your gym has something like that, you got to speak up. But that's pretty much the fucking gist of it. All right. Is it silly to sit like this? What do you think? Well, I've definitely fallen asleep up here before. Not so much now because it's so fucking hot and I'm just like dripping in sweat. So when I'm done with cardio, it is not, oh, let's chill on let's just say this was not an expensive couch. This was an Amazon, comes in like the smallest box you can imagine, and it fills up. It does the job, but it's, I guess I wouldn't be worried about getting it dirty. I wouldn't want it to stink, though. So when I'm done with my cardio now, I'm doing a little rinse, just drying off, get in the car, go home. And when I'm dieted, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you've ever bulked or dieted before, your base energy and like lethargy levels will fluctuate. So steep into a diet, you get pretty tired, like 2 weeks out from a prep. But when you're like just regular dieting, you know, I think I could lose like a few pounds of body fat still. But right now I'm in a good groove. I'm sleeping really well. I feel no need for like a midday nap. I'm not tired after my workouts other than like normal, like tired, but not sleepy. So there's not much need for a post fucking workout nap. But when I'm bulking up, going forward into probably end of August, September, onward towards the winter time, I'm going to separate my cardio session from the workout. So it's going to be morning cardio, evening workout. So if I finish like some crazy chest day, maybe I'm getting up to like, 260 pounds, 255 pounds. I bring in a meal, eat the meal post workout as quick as I fucking can. Well, that's a situation where I might wake up at like 11, or I might fall asleep and wake up hours later, just immediately jumping onto the rest position. But nah, just this whole space in general, like this is fucking nuts. I don't think it's lost on me too much because I'll be sitting up here doing my cardio. I'll have the speaker bumping some kind of like, can't be touched, we own it, or just whatever. Just something getting me going totally crazy. And the way that the cardio bike is set up, it just overlooks the whole thing. And I'm just like I know it's kind of obvious, but I'm just like, man, this is fucking nuts. And then it'll make me do the cardio even that much harder. So, I mean, it's let's just say it's a pretty damn good setup to have. But it's going to evolve. So I could definitely see this. Well, there's only so much room for stuff. Arsenal's got a whole new line of equipment, so might just make it a repeat customer deal and get a couple pieces in. I guess it depends on who you might be working with or working for or whatever. But if you're ever in a situation where you have gym equipment and you want to upgrade it, usually whoever you're getting it from might middle a little swap for you. So like that chest press that I said I didn't really like, you can probably just swap that in for a converging one, like things like that. So, but there's not much room for anything else. A dip machine is necessary. A bicep machine is necessary. An adductor machine, that's where you're squeezing your legs together. That is definitely on the list. But other than that, all bases covered. And the really cool part, we haven't really talked about any of this, is the lighting. So, I guess, I don't know. It's cooler when there's no other lights on. But when it's just these 4 beams of light across the way and all the walls and the ceilings are totally off, the down lighting is just nuts. And obviously I'm going to care about that because I want to look freaky. But I also want to look cool in the videos when I'm training, just because it makes them cool. So by having good control over your gym's lighting, I mean, it can really change the space. Like this looks way different when I have all these lights on versus these regular, like just incandescent beam lights or whatever on top. When those are on, it kind of feels like you're in a Walmart or like you're in a Costco or something. Just very soft lighting, no shadows, no contrast. And it's like, if I'm doing all this fucking cardio to look lean and like get abs and chest striations or whatever, I want to see them. So if I could have one upgrade for anybody's gym space, I mean, I'm talking just you've got a rack and some dumbbells in your garage. Look it up. Get some, it could be anything, I got a bunch of Amaran stuff, but it's all the same. So there's no brand loyalty there. But just some of these Bluetooth beam lights that you can control from your phone, that could be a big ass upgrade without changing anything about your equipment, but just changing the lighting of the space. Like I was saying a while ago about coming into the gym and really caring about the vibe of it. A lot of the time it's just the lighting, and even with the cameras, if I just use my phone like I did for the first couple of years of these videos and just recorded workouts phone style instead of with a fancy pants camera and a big lens and whatever, if the lighting's cool, it's still gonna look fucking good. So, side tip, if you're like, okay, because I get this comment enough that it's worth referencing, not a ton, but it's like saying, what camera should I buy? You're typing this comment on the answer, right? Your phone's got a pretty good camera, so you're kind of already set. I think you'd be better off just buying like $150 of lights or something. So everything else, machines, freaking dumbbells, everything, it's nothing you can't find in really any city. And I've been around, it's hard to not find a gym. I mean, fucking Planet Fitness is essentially everywhere. I tell you something, this is something you're not going to see anywhere else. Right? This is that one of one Sam's Special 3D Energy Orange Creamsicle edition. So this thing has been delivered for a little while. We got it in tandem with a 3D giveaway. So I'll stay tuned for that. It's not announced yet, but obviously this thing isn't a secret or anything. But keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. There's going to be some 3D promo. Just wait for it. It's not like a contest. Actually, I don't know. We're not decided yet. But now, instead of having all my 3D in here unrefrigerated, and keep it nice and cool. And I'm definitely just going to put some meals in here just to have them on hand. Maybe not right now because I'm dieting and I don't need to eat a crap ton of food. Like if I'm out of the house, I want to not be thinking about food. Like I want to use outside of the house time as like being distracted, thinking about other stuff, not thinking about like fiending on meals or anything. Once I start bulking up, having some food in here will be perfect. So I'll probably prep some stuff. But normally, it depends on the day. Because if I'm feeling good, like if I'm spry, just for whatever reason, maybe I'm really well rested, the 400 milligrams or 300 milligrams of caffeine from my pre typically just rolls over into my cardio. Because right now my setup is lift, post-workout cardio, which I used to be a very hardcore stickler. Only do your cardio in the morning, work out in the evening. As long as you get it in, I think post-workout cardio is fine. It's not that strict. But sometimes if I can tell, maybe I was just a little more tired, maybe whatever, well, then I'm going to grab a 3D post-workout for a little bit of extra caffeine. And it helps. 45 minutes on the bike passes by a bit quicker, or actually I guess this isn't a bit quicker than not when you get 200 milligrams of caffeine floating around your system. And that's sort of, I guess it's like a triple angle, or at least a double angle, because caffeine itself is a very mild, this is, to say painkiller is not right, but it does have an effect of improving your pain tolerance. Now, it's like barely, but it definitely does. And cardio is making your legs a little tender, so that's a minor effect. But more so, just you fucking feel energized, man. I don't have to sell you on caffeine. You know the shtick about that. So it just makes the time pass by a little quicker. And if you were curious, zero sugar. Zero freaking sugar as well. But that's not special. I don't know what you're doing drinking a full sugar energy drink right now. Like that's status quo. That's the baseline. Anything else I think would be strange. Like, oh man, I want an energy drink right now. And I would really love 60 grams of sugar as well. I can't even wrap my freaking head around it. And then I think there's only one more thing to talk about. And that's going to be the Party Box Ultimate. So normally I've just got my in-ear headphones with the videos in YouTube. If YouTube hears 5 seconds of Drake, you're boned. So having headphones for these workout videos typically works. But sometimes you got to get the speaker bumping, especially for cardio, or maybe I just record a couple sets. Normally I just record the whole thing, so I don't do that. But sometimes I'll just have the speaker going in between. So I'll get the bass of the, literally you can do, you can add double bass boost, which for some songs just kind of muddies it, like anything metal or rock kind of, but for anything like pop or rap or whatever, makes it sound pretty cool. And then once it's time for my set, swap to headphones, get it, record, repeat the process. But that's the state of things. That is the state of things. And I definitely want to get some more people in here. This is more than enough gym for one lifter. This is more than enough weight for one guy, which is very nice. But sometimes you need some energy. It's not as much as the gym really is this one-man journey, you being that one man or woman for the 4%ers watching, then, it's still nice knowing there's guys getting after it around you. So there's a little bit of an in and out crew, but here's my problem. Every kind of fitness character that you can name drop, they all live over in LA or in like Miami or wherever else, or Vegas. And I'm not I mean, if you've ever been to LA, I don't want to say it sucks, but it kind of sucks a little. Like, I'm cool where I'm at. So I think I'll see who's got interest in coming out here. And then, hey, shit, don't even need a hotel. They can have them sleep up on the couch, and they can take a shower in the corner. The bathroom is at least standard. The bathroom is at least normal. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. I probably wouldn't put anybody through that with the shower. But yeah, that's the gist of it. So if you did not know, the Sam Gym is going strong. But things are going to change. Not super soon or anything, but just in general, things are going to change. So once they do, I will keep you updated.